Hi everybody. On May 21st, we've got a full moon at 1 degree of Sagittarius, right at the very beginning of Sag. And a month later, on June the 20th, we've got another full moon in Sagittarius at 29 degrees. So for the next month, we're going to have rather a big focus on the energy of Sagittarius, especially as Saturn is also in Sagittarius during this month between about 13 to 14 degrees. So we've got this first full moon at 1 degree, the last full moon at 29 degrees, and Saturn sitting in the middle of these moon energies during this time, all in Sagittarius. So I think it's important that we really get a handle on what Sagittarian energy is all about. Sagittarius is about expansion, is about growing, is about looking for new horizons, not staying with what you know, but travelling off. That's why Sagittarius rules travel. When you travel, you're out of your familiar surroundings. Your senses are heightened. The smells, the sounds, the different cultures, the different language, the food, everything's different. So it's like you're more vibrant, you're more alive. And that's what this full moon energy, I feel, is going to trigger in us, is looking at where we may feel rather stagnant, where you may feel as though things are sort of just not very exciting in your life. You haven't got that inspirational energy. And full moons do bring things to a head. And so you may be shown areas in your life where you really need to expand, to grow, to move out beyond your restrictions. All too often we are restricting ourselves. I always remember the story of the elephant that's been tethered all its life. So it knows it can only go a certain distance. And then they untether it, they take the chains away. And even without the chains, that elephant stays within those confines of what's familiar. So this full moon is asking you to look at, are you sticking with what's familiar just because you know it? And remember that growing pains can be jolly painful sometimes. It's like, when you're physically growing, it's like, oh, ouch, got growing pains. Yes, remember when the body was growing. Well, the same can be true mentally and emotionally. And from what I'm seeing this month, because we've also got a very powerful new moon in the middle of all this, so this is the 21st of May, this is the 20th of June, which will be the full moon in Sagittarius at 29 degrees. But in the middle of it, on the 4th of June, we've got a very powerful new moon in Gemini. So we've got very much this, again, this mutable energy, this retrograde energy. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to do this video and somehow I've not been satisfied with it for one reason or another, so redoing it. So you may find yourself still redoing, revising, reassessing. The main energy with Gemini and Sagittarius is everything to do with the mind, how you are thinking, the power of belief, the power of what you think you can do. I think many of you have noticed that I've been going through quite a few changes, so to speak, and it's been really rather quite an awakening in many ways. My Saturn natally is in Sagittarius, so I'm having my second Saturn return, which is really making me look at structures in my life that maybe have been very limiting. For example, I always thought I needed 8 or even 9 hours sometimes sleep a night. Do you know, I'm now sleeping some nights just 3 or 4 hours and feeling great. getting up at 3 in the morning and stretching, doing some yoga, meditating, being peaceful. Sleeping on the floor sometimes, just on a yoga mat, when I always believed that I would always need a bed. So little things that can really shift you out of your regularity. And this is what the mutable energy is about. This is why this mutable stuff that I've been talking about, it really is powerful. On June the 4th, right in the middle of all this, when we get the new moon in Gemini, that is going to be a cross, the grand cross of the mutable signs. So again, it's this feeling of being out of control in many ways, but enjoying the feeling of being out of control. Enjoying being on that roller coaster, because Sagittarius is all about finding the joy. Sagittarius would rule something like the laughing Buddha, yes, who's just laughing, gets on the train and starts to laugh, and everybody eventually in that carriage is laughing with him, because it's contagious. So it's very much about finding joy in life. Now let's look at some of the aspects here, because I'm getting carried away with all this Sagittarian energy. Sagittarius loves to tell a story. So let me tell you a story of what the planets are doing at the time of this full moon. Along with the Sun, we've got Venus. And along with the Moon, we've got Mars. So not only do we have an opposition of Sun and Moon, we've also got an opposition of Venus and Mars opposite one another. The masculine and the feminine. So there may be some tensions come up in relationships. And you may even feel tension in your relationship with yourself. For example, are you being too soft? Are you taking things in relationships and just compromising and giving way and not wanting an argument? Or are you doing the Sagittarian thing and speaking your truth? A little example might be you've scheduled to meet a friend for dinner and you just don't feel like going that night for whatever reason. You're not sick, you haven't got a valid excuse, but some reason your intuition is telling you it's not going to be good for you to go. Do you phone that friend up and say, look, I don't know why, but I'm not feeling good about going out to dinner tonight. Would you mind if we just postpone it and go another night? Or do you just go anyway and go against that little inner voice? Because Moon and Mars together, you see, the Moon is soft and sensitive, and Mars retrograde is asking you to look at your actions, to look at the sensitivity, the things that you're feeling, but then to act on them, to speak the truth. Sagittarius about speaking your truth, popular or not. Because if you are in alignment with you, totally, your world lines up. You get those synchronicities, and probably you would phone that friend, and that friend may say to you, do you know what? I was feeling just the same. I really wanted a night in, and I'm ever so glad you called and said you wanted that too, because it's taken the pressure off me. So know that by speaking your truth, you're really helping other people in that. They may be initially disappointed. Okay, that can happen. But better that you feel in alignment with who you are. That's a little bit what the Kundalini yoga does. It aligns up all those chakras. When all the chakras are shining beautifully, you're alive. You're not aging. The cells are dancing, if you like. There's a dance of the cells and you can create miracles. Sagittarius would rule the lottery, winning the lottery, all those things that seem almost miraculous, that are sort of outside the norm. And with Saturn in Sagittarius, and also at the time of this full moon, a Grand Trine happening in Earth signs. So we've got Jupiter, Virgo, we've got Pluto in Capricorn, and we've got Mercury, of course, retrograde in Taurus. And so this Grand Trine in Earth signs is a wonderful opportunity for you to really ground yourself, to feel very centered. And so you've got this upward energy of Sagittarius, shooting out your arrows, doing things differently, even the little things, because Sagittarius, Jupiter ruling Sagittarius is in Virgo at the moment. So really looking at the little things in your life and how you can do them maybe differently. I must say that changing hands, changing your dominant hand is such a powerful thing to do. I can't begin to tell you, it's been difficult. As you see, I had a little bit of a wrestle with a blender this week, but it changes something in the brain. And this energy of Saturn in Sagittarius until the end of 2017, we are going to see more and more of the melding of science, which would be Saturn energy, and Sagittarius, which is spirituality, metaphysics. So bringing the things that we perhaps don't understand into some kind of proof. Scientists are going to start proving that we can heal quickly, that we don't have to maybe take X amount of weeks or months for a bone to heal, that maybe we don't have to have surgery to correct issues. Maybe we can connect into a different kind of cellular energy, mind, pattern, change, brain, all kinds of things. My brain is going crazy here because of this whole mutable energy, giving us an opportunity to think differently. Because the minute you think differently about what you can do, what is possible for you, Sagittarius is saying nothing is impossible.